Hello and welcome to episode 27 of VocTerGaming. I'm your host, the vocal terrorist, Jesse Rain, and we are here in the continuation of the little Jinro vs Zerg series I'm doing, and we are at the final boss, as today our Red Terran, LiquidJinro, takes on the three-time GSL champion, IMNesTea. IMNesTea is, honest to God, the greatest player in the world right now. Not even kidding. This guy is unbelievably good. Let me put it like this for you. This guy won 3 GSLs, which is the most anyone's ever won. It's equalled by his teammate MVP. However, MVP has been down into Code A, and NesTea's third championship, he won it without losing a single game. It's unheard of. I mean, the GSL is pretty much the collection of the best players, at least in Korea, quite potentially the world, since you've got guys like Huck out there as well, you know, former DreamHack winner. So it's just unbelievable for anyone to do that, and this guy did it. So this is going to be the real test. You know, this is like the final boss for Jinro, to see whether or not he's really got what it takes to stick it out there in Korea. Obviously, losing wouldn't be so bad because, you know, he's NesTea. Everyone loses to NesTea. As we see him 14 hatch there. Very normal, very safe. Right, I have a few things to talk about before this match really gets underway. The first of those is I have just bought a ton of stuff, so I'm in a great mood today. That's all arriving soon. I bought Lego Star Wars, the complete saga, because I'm a 12-year-old man-child. I bought another 4 GB of RAM, so that my computer will actually be able to run these replays a bit better. Should eliminate any of the stuttering effects I've had recently. What else did I buy? I bought a Kindle, so now I have ebooks. So I'm altogether far more excited than I should be about that. The other thing is, this Friday will be the 50th episode of VocTerGaming, as we see a spawning pool go down there, very normally for NesTea. So that will be the 50th episode of VocTerGaming, and in celebration, you know, I thought I'd do something a bit different, as, you know, 50 is supposed to be quite special. What I'm going to do is, Cyan has given me a 4 versus 4 game, and I'm going to attempt to cast that and completely miss everything important while I do it. That's going to be a lot of fun, so please, 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 you know, come down, check it out on Friday. Jinro trying to bunker push now. Again, it's not going to be a serious bunker push. As we can see, like he did before, it's a barracks factory opening, so he does retreat. The point of this is this: kill a few drones, stop them mining for a couple of seconds, and just force Zergling production. It's really nice from Jinro. He doesn't have to make any more Marines than he normally would have. He only loses the 1 SCV out of it. In fact, hasn't even lost that. Really well done by Jinro there. He's going to use it instead to hold that Zonaga Watchtower. Zergling speed is now on the way for NesTea. This command center is going up, and the factory is going to spawn out 2 Hellions very, very shortly. Now, it'll be interesting to see whether Jinro goes the same route he did last time. Obviously, this is the same opening so far, but will he swap this factory back onto the tech lab then to get Blue Flame out for his Hellions, or will he just go straight into the starport tech? Really, really interested to find out. Obviously, that worked quite well against Coca. Nope, he is going to switch again. Very, very nice. I like that. Using the reactor to get the 2 Hellions out, and then going straight into the Blue Flame. Obviously, this is still the old version, so Blue Flame still gives plus 10 damage, as you can see there. Roach Warren is going down in the base of NesTea. That's going to help him defend against any kind of Marine push. It's going to be really, really good against these Hellions, in fact. Very nice kiting of the Queen there. Going to do quite a bit of damage. Needs to be careful not to get caught by these Lings. Very good. Doing a lot of damage to those Lings. It's going to take them all down. Only losing 1 Marine in the SCV. They are in orange and yellow, though, so does need to be careful. Oh, decides to go up into the base. He's going to see this Roach Warren. Really, really nice play. Really good play there by Jinro. Oh, interesting. We put back here, we see Jinro's completely given up on Hellion production, and has instead gone straight into siege tanks. I love that. That's brilliant. Whether or not he knew about that roach war, and that is the perfect response, whether he saw the roaches before that happened, although with how far along siege tech is done, I think maybe that was just his plan all along. 3 roaches out now for NesTea. Gonna send them across the map, see what he can see. This orbital command is now done. Gonna wait for a few more forces before he lifts up. In fact, now that seems to be the time. Going to move these siege tanks out. One on the high ground, one on the low ground. Sieged up. Really good defensive position there. And of course the Marines here to give vision and do some extra DPS. Now if we pop back to NesTea's base, we see he's taking all 3 of the other gases he hadn't taken. And he's upgrading his hatchery to a lair. That's going to be good. Obviously gives the option of Spire Tech. Mutalisks. Mutalisks really effective on a map like this. Again, you fly them around, you harass the mineral line here, you harass the mineral line here. Something you can do, a lot of players like to do with them. You come in, you take out tech labs and reactors. As we see, 2 more barracks now have gone down for Jinro, along with another tank. Is keeping up his production quite well. Right now every possible construction facility is being used. That's something you really want. If any of you are new to the game, that is precisely what you want. You want enough production facilities that you're spending all this money as fast as possible, but you don't want so many that you're not using any at a certain time. eBay going down here to help create this wall off. And obviously going to allow for upgrades. If we pop down here, we see a macro hatchery now in the second base of Jinro, along with an evolution chamber here. Glial reconstitution, that's the movement speed for roaches, is going down, along with ground carapace level 1, that's the armour for Zergs. Spire also going up. This macro hatchery now nearly finished. That macro hatchery obviously is going to help him just so much in getting units out. Obviously it doesn't help increase your economy too much. You can re-drone after a harassment, so it's a good idea to get one when you've seen Hellions, in fact. But obviously what it will do is help him spawn much more units than he possibly could. Oh, these siege tanks are taking its toll on the roaches, but they allow the speedlings to get in and do damage. All the speedlings do go down though, and he only loses 1 tank, so that's a really good push by Jinro. Taking out creep tumors again, going to stop that creep spread. The one thing I don't like, just like to point out, no creep here from this base, so any queens in the main would struggle to get down to help defend this. Looks like this macro hatchery could go down, but that's a lot of roaches to spawn. If he had some medevacs, that might be enough, but I think there's just enough here to take it out now. If the queen's transfused, which they don't have the energy for... Oh, and more marines streaming now. More marines streaming in, along with a 3rd tank. This is going to do a lot of damage now. But the tanks do go down, the marines do slowly go down. He's got just enough to finish off these roaches. Might be wise to pull back now, however, rather than try to go for that macro hatchery. As otherwise he will lose these 2 tanks, and he can't really afford to do that at this stage of the game. As we see, Stim is going down, along with Terran Infantry Weapons level 1. But both these tanks are now going to die. Yep, should have pulled back when I said that was a wasted loss there. You really don't want to be losing siege tanks for no gain like that. Okay, we have a starport going down in the base of Jinro. We have another command center building. Whether or not he's going to float it over here, or even in fact send it to a planetary fortress for defense. I really like the wall off here. That's really nice. What that does is stops Zerg run-bys. Stops the Zerglings from sidestepping his army and just running in and wreaking havoc here. So that's really good. The one thing you have to be careful of course... Okay, it doesn't stop the Zerglings at all, will it? No, because there's a gap there. Okay, that wall off is pointless, in fact, because if you can get 1 hex units through, there's no need for it. This base has morphed to an orbital command, so it looks like he is going to lift it to here. But as we see, the first of the Mutalist is out, and it will see those SCVs. Did it see those SCVs? Didn't quite see those SCVs. And that wasn't the first Mutalist at all. I am blind. Excuse me while I put my glasses on so I can see the minimap better. There we go. Should always wear my glasses. You should harass me if you see me without them on. Tell me. So you're a bad person. And make me feel bad about it. Right, NesTea expanding to the 3rd base up here. He's also getting a baneling nest. Whereabouts is that baneling nest? Must be at the natural. Yep, there's the baneling nest. Really, really good there. That's going to help a lot. It does so much damage to the bioforce of Jinro. But of course, siege tanks are an effective counter to banelings. The trick is to use your mutas to kill off and harass the siege tanks, while the banelings then, or at least force unsiege, so that the banelings can then completely destroy the bio army. As we see, centrifugal hooks is going down. That's the baneling speed, along with Zerg flyer attacks level 1. That's these sexy little mutas here. That will be done very, very shortly. 4 banelings in production, another queen, another eBay going down now. For Jinro, is going to try and get double upgrades as infantry armor level 1 is finishing. Will need an armory. Not sure if he's got one yet. Can we see an armory? No armory just yet, but that should be on its way soon. Sensor tower going down. Oh, Terran infantry weapons level 2 is done. So he does have an armory somewhere on the map that I can't see because I am blind. Anyway, enough of looking for it. These mutas come in, trying to do some damage, but that is nicely placed missile turret there. These are really nice placements on these missile turrets. Drop in the double gas again. Got a bunker here as well. The sensor tower is really good. It's going to help him see the mutas coming from miles away. I like the depot placement here. This is a better wall off. Excuse me. He will, however, have to drop them to mine the gas properly from here. Or he will forget to drop them and instead will go the long way with only... That's a bit ridiculous. Oh well. Hopefully he'll fix that. But now the mutas come in. They take down the first missile turret. They get this second. They will be free. They do get the 2. But by that time the Marines have come in and chased them away. So not too much damage done there. Meanwhile, Jinro is pushing out onto the map. He's got a nice force of Marines and siege tanks here. He can just slowly go these forwards. Needs to be careful that the mutas don't catch the siege tanks though. These Marines do have stim, but there are no medevacs with them right now. As we see melee attacks level 2 and flyer attacks level 2 going up for the Zerg. We have one Thor that will probably be used for defense against the muta harass. And we have infantry weapons level 2 nearly finishing. This force of mutas using that high ground. They cannot attack right now, but if this Marine Bioforce leaves that for a second... Oh, NesTea, this is not a good engagement at all. Does force the stim, but loses a lot of mutalisks. That is no good at all. You cannot afford to be losing mutalisks like that. They are not designed for head-up confrontations with that amount of stim Marines. But if you go back here, we see a large force of Zerglings, which could very shortly turn into banelings and completely destroy again the bio army. NesTea has again expanded up here, so he's putting a lot of energy into these expansions, which of course is what Zerg needs to do. He needs to out-expand the Marines by as much as possible. These forward Marines do go down. Forces a stim very nicely and then leaves again. Using the Thors here, not for defense, but to attack, to help defend these siege tanks against the mutalisks. I like that again, it's very, very clever. 52 Zerglings in production. Look at this force! Zerglings and banelings and mutas. Oh, does get a look at them though with those Marines. Moving back, morphing even more banelings, bringing out even more Zerglings. NesTea is now pretty much at max. Of course, he will lose a lot of that by attacking into these siege tanks. But this huge force is just doing a lot of damage. Everything is going down in seconds, using banelings against siege tanks because he's just got so many. And that entire push dies. Wow. Infestation Pit goes down now for IMNesTea, and he is miles in the lead. 168 food to 114. This medevac is going to go down. This entire base could go down right now. Only one Thor here to defend it right now. Does have a few more Marines and a couple of siege tanks up here, but this is a tiny, tiny army compared to what NesTea has. Okay, infantry armor level 2 going down, infantry weapons level 3 going down. In terms of Zerg flyer carapace, that's the muta armor, is going down now. Along with pathogen glands, that's the starting energy for the infestors. 2 more gas going down up here. It's going to give them more than enough to create those infestors. Would not be surprised if we see this morph into a hive very, very shortly for the Broodlord Infestor combination. As it is right now, he may just have enough here to go out and stomp. Jinro has to be very, very careful from now on. He's fighting from a position of weakness, which is not a good place for the Terran. He's still only on 2 bases. There is no way right now he can go out and take a third, as NesTea would just stomp it completely. Running out of energy at the orbital command, so he can't use mules right now. Only has enough for about 1 more mule, so he can't use those to keep his economy up with the 4 base Zerg. Now a small drop is up here looking for extra bases, which is nice. We have another drop coming over here. He's going to try and drop in the main. That Overlord does see it, and there are a few mutas at home to help defend against this, but it's not going to be enough. Needs to get some more of his main army up in here. Unfortunately, his entire army has come up here to defend against this drop. So while he will kill that off very quickly, this is going to do a lot of damage. It will get shut down. Did not do as much damage as it could have. His focus was up here trying to help save these, which he did manage to do. Now he could come and pick this off if he had the presence of mind to. Oh, but again, NesTea just shuts it down. I like that, the elevator effect there from Jinro. But a few mutas will completely shut that down. If he swings those in, takes down that medevac, this is game over. Well, not game over, obviously, but it's game over for that drop. Now, Terran vehicle weapons level 1 is going up, which is, of course, going to help the siege tanks be slightly more effective against any roaches. But honestly, that's not that necessary. I'd have gone for the armor first. This the lair is now becoming a hive. The reason I'm going to talk you through this quickly. The reason I'd have gone for the armor is there aren't many roaches here, so Zerglings, Banelings, and Infestors all die very, very quickly to siege tanks. So what you need to do is keep them alive for longer to do that damage. Make him waste even more Banelings on them, which right now he is not doing. So we will see how effective this becomes. Obviously there are no roaches there. Well, this push is now over. Centre tower going up along with another base. So he's going to have that decently defended. But Infestors are now on their way out, which could be the game ender. Once you start locking these units in place, and then just rolling Banelings into them, it is pretty much game over. 3 Corruptors are coming along with a Greater Spire and melee attacks level 3, which will of course completely negate any armour upgrades anyway, so I suppose it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. That is a hell of a lot of Banelings. We're going to take a quick look at the units tab now. That is 53 Banelings, ladies and gentlemen. 53 Banelings on the field right now. Look at the difference in army composition. 67 Marines. There's nearly 1 Baneling for every Marine. 12 Siege Tanks, which is a nice amount right now. Only 1 Thor, but that'll do. Against 3 Corruptors, 3 Infestors, 53 Banelings, and 80 Mutalisks, 41 Zerglings. We go back to production. We see this base is morphed into a planetary fortress. Obviously that will not help it against a Mutalisk attack, but will help defend it against any Zerglings. Of course he has enough Banelings to just run Banelings into it and completely explode it. We will see. This drop is completely shut down. And now everything streams in. And oh, nice lift on the command centre there. Banelings coming in, trying to do a lot of damage. Oh, takes down nearly half that Marine force just with a few Banelings. And now this game has got to be close to finish. I think Jinro is pretty much done. If he can't safely expand here, it's going to be over. Good Zerg attacks here. Sending some Banelings in, taking down those Marines. 2 are left, but there are Banelings in the main now. He can use them to take out pretty much whatever he wants. using them to take down a few SCVs. Coming back up here, attacking the Marines with them. Oh, doing so much damage there. The Mutas taking down reactors now, which are going to force them to rebuild them to get more Marines out. Nearly took down that tech lab as well, which would have been nice. And just altogether harassing, doing damage, forcing this army, look at this snake of siege tanks back. And of course, which means the Mutas now come along here and pick off a few medevacs. They can take down this command centre now. Or they could go in and take down these. It probably doesn't have enough there to take down all 3 missile turrets, so that's significant loss. But does get that command centre, shuts down that expansion of Jinro. Really, really nice. And now Flyer Carapace level 2 is going up, going to make the Mutas even hardier. And this is pretty much the final push from Jinro. If this doesn't work, he's got nothing. He's got no expansions to go to. And now Broodlords are out as well. This is going to be tough. Look at this. Broodlords, Corruptors, Mutas, Infestors. So many Banelings. This push has to kill NesTea. NesTea has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases and a macro hatch. Compared to 3 virtually non-mining bases now of Jinro. 1 is in fact not even mining at all here. So you see, this has still got a few patches left. This has barely got anything. This attack, these units, is what he has now to finish this game with, and the longer he waits, the more NesTea gets ahead. Look at the money here. NesTea has 6,000 minerals saved up, 1,000 gas. He could lose this army and remake it in less than a minute, pretty much, with what he's got right now. Jinro is trying to drop up here, but it's just not enough. Even if he takes this base down, look at the minerals he's got. And Banelings completely finish that off. This game is pretty much over, ladies and gentlemen. There's not much more I can say about it. Jinro is trying to drop here again, but again, taking everything down is still not enough. You need to completely just overwhelm the Zerg, and you can't do that. You know, you take down these production buildings, so what? He rebuilds them. He's got 1 billion bases and more minerals than you can shake a stick at. Now that is nice though. Targeting the Greater Spire means Broodlords can't come out. But of course he can rebuild that elsewhere. He's getting the adrenal glands upgrade, but that goes down too. Very nice. Rebuilding the Spire into the Greater Spire and building an Ultralisk Cavern because he's NesTea and he can build whatever the hell he wants. Even though Ultra's completely ineffective. Pretty much. You don't see them used. He is trying. Now this is a nice push. Coming in, taking this base out. Unfortunately, this army is now going to come and meet it, and he's going to catch those siege tanks at the back. Oh, with his flyers, there's only the 1 Thor there to help protect them. Fungals go down to stop them attacking, and everything there dies. This is pretty much GG we are about to see from Jinro. Very well played by him though. NesTea though just completely outplayed him. It was a nice try. Tried to do a similar thing to what he did against Coca, but of course it completely failed because NesTea is the final boss of Zergs, the greatest player in the world today, and is just unstoppable. Expect that when this dies, in fact even before this dies, it's some kind of GG from Jinro. I mean, NesTea could expand all across the map now if he wanted, and there would be nothing Jinro could do to stop him. He could take every single unused base and probably a couple of Jinros. Like, that is just how far ahead he is. Jinro is trying to expand, which is a valiant effort, but it's not going to be enough. It's far, far too late to catch up with that kind of economic deficit. The upgrades are simply too much now in difference. The Ultralisks are on their way out, which are going to help do damage to the command centres if he tries to expand anymore. I'd love to say this is tense, but it's not. It's just over for Jinro. And to be fair to him, he's doing everything he can to come back. And look at this now. Even long distance mining. Absolutely pointlessly. Having to rebuild that hatchery, as we saw from the attack earlier. But NesTea is expanding further out. The Broodlords are doing so much damage. The Mutas and Corruptors are taking down those Vikings. And Jinro G's. Or in fact GG's. So that is the end of that. Jinro played really well. I mean, to drag a half-hour game out of NesTea, you've got to be pretty good sometimes. You know, he held on. He did a lot to stop those harassments and those attacks. But in the end, he was just beaten completely economically. Terrible, terrible creep spread by NesTea, as I remember his name. Terrible creep spread. Never connected his bases. Obviously, these two were connected eventually just by sheer force of creep tumor. But apart from that, really didn't have to bother. I mean, with his force being mainly mutas anyway, you don't have to worry too much about creep spread. But anyway, that game is over. I will have 2 more games this week of just normal stuff that I found off SC2 reps. I think I might do another PvP very shortly, see if I can check out the patch changes on those. That has done some interesting things. As well, if you should check out, if you watch the GSL, check out the Team League, check out IM versus MVP for an insane series, best of 9. And also check out from yesterday Sage's games from the Code A round of 8 I think it was, where he's just a complete boss. Sage is unstoppable. He is what Protoss need to be to win. Anyway, that is us done. And of course, don't forget, on Friday we will be here with episode 50, which will be a 4 versus 4, which I will utterly fail to be any good at casting. So, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow.